everyone, and welcome back to the Triforce podcast, coming to you from a late fall in Bristol here.
This weather, eh? Hi, everybody. This weather.
The kind of time when you don't know whether you've stepped upon a leaf or a dog poo, a slippery brown thing. Could be either. It's a wonderful time of the year. Welcome, Pflax. How are you?
I'm doing much better now I'm home. Much better now I'm home.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to clarify something, just in case anybody had heard that I'd left TI early. I did leave early. And I left because a couple of my good mates there, Cap and JJ, got COVID. And they are stuck there now for 10 days or 2 weeks or whatever.
Oh, no.
If I had stayed for the final couple of late game shows, I felt if there was a chance that I was going to get it. And the moment that we had to isolate, like we were told, Cap and JJ have got it. Everybody that's been with them the last few days needs to isolate. We had to take a PCR test and all that. The fear of being stuck there for 2 days. I was waiting for 12 hours for the results in my hotel room.
For 2 weeks, you mean? Yeah.
Sorry, 2 weeks. So when it came out, we took a PCR test straight away and we isolated until the result came back like 12 hours later. We weren't allowed to leave our hotel room. We had room service and we were just stuck in there and all the rest of it. So because of that, we missed one episode. And then I said to Valve, I'm not being funny, but I didn't think that this was going to happen. Like I kind of, when we agreed to do TI and everything, Romania wasn't in the situation that it is now.
Sure. Yeah.
Which is that it's kind of infested with COVID. There's a lot of resistance to getting the vaccine. And there also seemed to be a lot of carelessness from the locals. If you got on a car for, a driver of any kind, or the security guards at the arena and stuff didn't have their masks on as much as I would have liked.
Right.
So there was, and also the cleaners in the hotel would walk around without their mask on. And then when they saw you, they'd put it over their chin. And, that was pretty much it. It was like, they didn't seem to be taking it as seriously. It's just a culture thing or whatever, but they weren't as interested in masking up as we were in the UK and I assume other places. So I guess Cap and JJ caught it that way because all of us coming in were double vaxxed. All of us were tested every day. I'm very confident that someone from outside didn't bring it to TI. I think someone in Romania probably gave it to someone. So I was very nervous. I should have figured that these things could happen. And if I was that worried, I guess I should have passed on TI, but I honestly thought it was going to be okay.
I think a lot of people did, right?
Yeah.
Especially judging by how normal it is here, right?
Exactly.
I went to see the James Bond, in the cinema,
yeah.
which feels
nice.
mental. It was full of people. If there wasn't even spare seats, we weren't even there's no buffering. It was packed full of people.
Yeah.
No one wearing masks anywhere. We had an office outbreak of COVID this week, however, so that's caused a bunch of trouble. But yeah, I guess it did feel like to some extent the event would be normal, but that wasn't the only thing that was a problem. I mean, I think people gradually got more and more frustrated, at least from my view of what the talent were experiencing, they started wearing their jackets on stage and stuff like this.
Well, it was very cold. So the arena itself, the arena itself, it's a football stadium. It's the national stadium in Bucharest. It's a beautiful stadium, really is. The stage was amazing. The seats were all these beautiful, vibrant colors. So when we got there, it would have been amazing as a live venue, but it is a covered stadium, as in they just put the roof on, which is a bit like putting a plastic bag over the top of your house and thinking that'll keep the heat in. It was freezing. It was so cold. The casting stuff was out in the arena because that's where it would have been if the crowd had been there. That's what you do. You have the casters in the arena so that you get that raw crowd noise on the cast.
And they would have warmed it up with all that breath as well.
Well, they might have done.
Yeah.
But instead, it was just so cold. I mean, when we did the late game, which was outside, in what was essentially a box, if you took a box and cut two sides off it, that was our set. It was like a sort of, I don't know what shape that is, but it was like a cube with two sides removed. Someone will know. So it's like open at the back and the front, and the wind just whipped through this thing. And when it rained, the rain would be hitting the back of your neck while we're doing the show. So they had these heat lamps there to keep us warm. And I don't know if you look at the show, I was wearing a short sleeved fucking summer shirt. I know. Because I was like, it's only early October. I'm sure Romania is lovely and warm this time of year for some stupid reason. And because I'm going on holiday next week, so when this goes out, I will be on holiday when you're listening to this. I was packing as if I was going on holiday like a fucking idiot.
Well, we thought you were going straight there, actually, because you mentioned this last week. We thought you'd be on holiday this week. But
no. So
you've got
there was a
recovery
week
time.
gap. Yeah, there was a week
Well,
gap.
that's the other reason you didn't want to get COVID, because you didn't want to miss your holiday.
That was the main reason. Yeah,
people are very anxious. I had a similar thing where I had to go to a funeral. I didn't want to it's when I was going to visit you. Sips.
Yeah.
I didn't want to get stuck in Jersey.
No, of course. Well, you don't want to get stuck anywhere. It doesn't
funeral.
really matter, right? I mean, it'd be different if you were like going to visit Cindy Crawford and you got stuck at her house for like
another
a couple
classic
of months.
up-to-date reference from the
Fuck,
Triforce
man.
podcast.
Oh, Cindy, I'm
Crawford.
so sorry. I didn't know this was gonna happen. I guess we're just gonna have to get married. Sorry. I mean, that's the only way. Like, I'll be stuck here forever. Like the tests and like they're all backed
That's what
up.
the COVID rules say. We're married now.
Yeah.
If we live together, if I have to isolate with you for 2 weeks, you know what that means.
And what? It's just unfortunate that Liz Hurley decided to visit at the same time. She's gonna be stuck here too for a couple of months.
Cindy Crawford and Liz Hurley.
You and Liz Hurley together for a couple of months.
How am I going to keep you entertained?
Gosh, don't worry. I mean, I'll rub your feet and feed you every day and make a hot water bottle for you and stuff. Don't worry about any of that. Of course, I'll do that.
Rub your back. I've got some oils and stuff.
So Cindy Crawford is 55 and Liz Hurley is 56.
Yeah,
that's how out of date our references are.
Well, listen, I mean, when I was...
They'd be grateful for it. They'd be grateful for a week of pampering, is what I'm saying.
When I was 15 years old, they were like in their prime, right? So now that I'm 40 and they're, maybe a little
they're
bit
attainable.
Past their prime or whatever, I still have fond memories of being a 15-year-old and just whacking off all the time, I loved it. I mean, I'm not blind or anything. I fucking love jerking off.
My palms aren't that hairy. They were lying to us all the time.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So that was why I left early, was I didn't want to be stuck in a Romanian hotel with the Romanian equivalent of Cindy Crawford and
not wearing her mask properly.
Not wearing a mask.
Cindy Crawford ski.
Yeah.
Well, that's not Romanian, I guess. That'd be more like, I don't know.
Do you guys want to hear something absolutely nuts? Do you want to hear something nuts?
Sure. Is this? I mean, you've obviously when we meet up and we go to the pub, you're going to tell us all of the juicy stuff that you can't tell on the podcast. All of the wonderful, exciting
really
stuff.
Juicy
but
stuff,
give us a little nugget that we can hear.
All right, here is something. I used to do a drama club in the 90s, very early 90s.
Right.
And it was in Bournemouth, and me and a couple of my mates, because, it was just a fun thing to do. We'd go along to drama club, and it was like the guy that ran it was like an actor, but he'd been in Casualty a bunch of times, right? And a couple of other things as an extra. So he'd been an extra in Casualty. That was like his big claim to fame.
Well, you lowered the bar when you said he was a casualty, and then you lowered the bar even more when you said he was an extra.
He was
about
a
as
wounded
low on the ladder it
patient.
gets.
He was a wounded patient multiple times.
Oh, fuck!
So
does
he came in and
does he look like sick?
No, he's just kind of an everyman
really sorry
looking
for
dude.
himself.
You just
you're
don't know.
perfect. You're perfect for wounded patient number 6.
And but he was also like a nurse. He was like an orderly. Like just the people that are in the frame when the actors enter, scuttling about in the background or groaning like in a hospital bed, and the nurse is like doing something. Then they turn away to have a very important conversation about, I don't know, who's fucking who in the hospital with one of the my characters.
Do you reckon you have to be quite like forgettable or to do that?
No, exactly.
You can't be someone with a really recognizable, I don't know, or maybe in fact it's like the other way around. Maybe if you are really recognizable and like bald and weird looking, maybe you don't stick out.
Yeah,
in
bald
the
is
background.
weird looking, isn't it? Fucking bald bastards.
Bald.
It's weird.
Sorry, carry on.
That's
I
all
don't
right.
know. I think it's been made popular by like Bruce Willis and stuff now. You're fine. It's fine.
Maybe.
Yeah, I think you're
maybe.
fine. Yeah.
So he was in that, and occasionally young filmmakers like from university or stuff like that would be making a short film, and they needed kids as extras.
Right.
Now they would go to schools or they would go to drama clubs. And one time this filmmaker came to our drama club and needed some extras for a film called Dog Day Morning, which is a play on Dog Day Afternoon, which is an Al Pacino film. This was called Dog Day Morning, and it's basically about a goalkeeper who doesn't want to have to save shots to his right because there's a dog poo in the goal.
Okay.
So we made this film. I remember going along. It was like on a school field. I think it was one of the schools in Bournemouth. And I just, for some reason, I was Dog Day Afternoon popped up on Google for me somewhere, and I was like, oh, I haven't seen that movie in a while, and I watched a couple of clips from it. And then the name Dog Day Morning popped into my head. I was like, oh yeah, wasn't I in like a short film way back in the 90s? So it was 1990. I found it on YouTube. You can Google it. If you Google Dog Day Morning, it's got 595 views.
Right.
Dog Day Morning, 10-minute short made at BP's CAD in 1990 with a 13-year-old Stephen Graham, the actor Stephen Graham. If you don't know the name, go ahead and Google it right now. You will know exactly who he is.
Right.
He's been in a billion things. He was in that film. And I'm looking at him now, and there he is,
Oh,
a very
yeah.
young Stephen Graham. He would have been about, let me think, it was 1990, so I think he would have been 15. And there he is, and this is like one of his first films. It is very clearly him.
He's kind of like a English
Well, he's a
hard man slash
scouser.
detective.
Yeah, but he plays
Oh,
Americans.
yeah.
Like Vinnie Jones.
No.
Yeah,
He just does everything. He plays all kinds of different
Like
roles,
Phil Mitchell.
I guess. But he's a scouser.
Oh,
But
okay.
he was in Band of Brothers. He was in that
This
film
is England.
about John Dillinger. What was it called? The one with Christian Bale is in it and Johnny Depp is in it. Most Wanted
yeah.
or something like that.
He was Al Capone in Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah,
Oh
he
shit,
was Al
that
Capone.
guy, man, he's
Yeah.
such a good actor. Holy
Right.
crap!
So he was in that. And I've taken a screen cap and posted it on Facebook for my mum. It's like, there's me, very, very young me. If you find the video and watch it, I can't remember what exact timestamp I'm in there, but you can see a very young Pyrion Pflax. I'm like 14, very sunken cheeks, very floppy 1990 hair. And there's Stephen Graham in it.
Holy crap!
I couldn't believe it.
That's
I
nuts.
remember making it, but I didn't realize it had an actual actor in it.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Man.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Holy shit.
Indeed.
How does that make you feel?
I just thought it was a weird flashback, like one of those weird things.
Yeah, that's
Hadn't
pretty.
thought about it in a long time.
That's pretty weird, actually.
Where are you?
It's hard to find me, but I'll try and find the timestamp. I did
I'm
spot.
looking
I
for
did
a
spot
bald.
myself.
I'm looking for a bald head, but I'm realizing this is not helping.
No, if he's still in the 90s, probably still has a full head of hair. Did you have like a big afro?
No, I didn't. I will find a timestamp for
That's
you. And I'll
not.
tell
We've
it.
gone through this. That's not how it works.
No,
He didn't have
wait.
more hair when he was a kid
All right.
to make up for the lack of hair when he
No,
was.
I
an
just
adult.
thought it would be funny if he had a huge afro.
He did
you
get
know?
all of his hair at once.
Go to the time code 3:29, and then
Okay.
press play, and then press pause as soon as the lad kicks the ball. So at 3:31, you'll see there's a shot of a bunch of young lads, most of them wearing red.
Yeah,
And on the right-hand side,
yeah.
there's me.
At the back,
You can see. So
or is it half of your face?
You could just see like his
I am
eyes
the guy
and
to
forehead.
the left of him. That is me.
He looks
Holy crap.
nothing like you. He's
That-
like a child
is-
model.
I know
Yeah.
that is
He's
me.
like he's about to advertise cereal and like give a thumbs up to the camera.
Oh my
Well,
god.
There I am, very young, 14-year-old.
14
Ted.
years old. Man.
Look how much hair I've got.
Do you remember
I know.
when you were 14 if you had any like posters or like
I did.
magazine clippings of Cindy Crawford and Liz
I
Hurley?
didn't have Cindy Crawford. I'll tell you who I did have. Erica Eleniak from
Who the hell's that?
Baywatch. Go ahead and look up Erica
Oh.
Eleniak.
Okay, hang on a second.
Now,
Erica
you can find the poster. I
Erica-
found the poster.
Erica M. No, that's
There, you can
from
find the
Bunchy.
poster. It's her leaning on a car, wearing her Baywatch uniform and looking at the looking directly at the camera. That was the poster I had on my wall. Quite a large poster
Erica
of Erica Eleniak.
Erica
I think she was also
Eleniak.
in Under Siege.
Oh yeah, I recognize Erica Eleniak. You had a poster of Erica Eleniak?
I did. Look at. I mean, she had big old titties, and I was a big fan of Baywatch back in the day. Let me tell you
Okay,
something.
I had a poster of Alicia Silverstone, who was more of a North American heartthrob in the 90s.
I am a big fan. I was a
Like
big fan of
early
Alicia
90s.
Silverstone back then. I am a big fan of her early work. What is that film called? Clueless.
Clueless.
That's a
that was
really good
that was
movie.
the big one, right? And then
Yeah.
I think she was also in the in a bunch of Aerosmith videos. Remember? Like
Yeah.
early 90s.
But so was Liv Tyler was in
Yes.
some
Okay.
because that was obviously his daughter. But yeah.
And The Crush as well. I don't know if you remember the movie The Crush. But
I mean, yeah.
more recently, somewhat recently, and I had to do a double take because my son was watching Diary of a Wimpy Kid, the live action movie, and she plays the mum in that.
How
and
about that?
man, she looks like such a Karen now. It's crazy. Like she just looks like a mum. But I was like, man, she looks so familiar. Like, who is that? And then I was like, oh my god, it's Alicia Silverstone. And then that made me feel really bad about myself as well because, like, you know, she was like super hot in the 90s. I was super
Right.
hot in the 90s. In 2021, maybe not so much. You know, I actually had that realization about myself and also Alicia Silverstone. So there you go. Not
So,
nice, but there you go.
Alicia Silverstone was she was good, but I think I was maybe a little older because I'm a few years older than you. For me, Jennifer Connelly in Labyrinth was my first genuine screen love. Like I fell in love
We have
with
been
Jennifer
through
Connelly.
this so many times.
But I can't stop talking about it. Look
Okay.
at pictures of that. She was so beautiful, and I was absolutely besotted with her. I loved Labyrinth, and she was. Oh, I absolutely loved her.
My
I
first
still do.
crush like that was Cameron Diaz in The Mask. I was like
Oh yeah,
13 or 14 years old.
Right.
Oh my God. I just thought, holy crap. This is just like this is the best.
I think I would
looking
have been
back, it's like
I would have been like 11 or 12. So she was my first like absolute head over heels.
It's a
in
funny
love with
age,
Jennifer
isn't it?
Connelly.
Like you're sort of early to mid teens. You just like you
literally
don't know
fall
what
in
the
love
fuck's going
with
on.
someone
Yeah.
on TV. Like
I know.
it's
Yeah.
completely
It's
besotted.
weird, isn't it? Yeah, it's really weird. But what about you, Lewis? Probably like that. What's the old lady that does the
Alison
cakes?
Hannigan from Buffy, probably.
I never liked Willow. Why didn't Buffy was the hot one on that show? Well, there
I
are
don't
other
know
lass,
why.
but
I don't
Alison
know, it's
Hannigan,
weird.
I never got
Mary-
it. She was in
it's-
FHM a bunch.
I was thinking of Mary Berry. Lewis's heartthrob
She's
was
a
Mary
different
Berry.
kind of
Door.
pie.
I'll do that.
She's a sort of lemon meringue pie, I think, is Mary Berry.
Yeah.
Jennifer Connelly became very kind of head teachery severe, though, right, in her film roles. She sort of became this. She'd always have like a tight bun, and she'd stand up very straight and be very tall and be very well dressed. I always imagine
Jennifer
her as
Connelly?
like telling someone off or being an evil
Labyrinth.
kind of.
What the hell else? She was in A Beautiful Mind. I think that's where I remember her more from. More so than Labyrinth.
She's been in tons of stuff, but she definitely has that like high cheekbones, kind of slightly scary looking woman, like very, very posh, rich,
Yeah.
like businesswoman.
Yes.
Badass, no nonsense, fashionable businesswoman. I don't know.
Yeah.
She definitely seemed to like fit that stereotype in my mind.
I agree with that.
That's-
I agree.
Yeah,
With
and that's it's, she hardened, and that's not what I want. With my women, I want soft, pillowy breasts.
that. Nice. Good to know.
Yeah.
Good to know. I'm
Yeah,
thinking of
we've been
Christmas
through
presents
this.
and
We've been through this so many
Get
times.
you just gonna get you some big pillowy breasts.
I mean, that's why I love Baywatch so much. That felt like the greatest TV show ever made.
Pamela.
I loved it. I loved it.
Pamela Anderson, Baywatch.
Oh,
Yeah,
it was just
you're
just
right.
endless jiggling boobs. I mean, it was incredible because you got to remember when this was out, late 80s, early 90s, there was no internet, there was no pornography, there was nothing for a young teenage boy to
There
get
was.
his hands on.
But
There
you had
really
to find
wasn't.
a stash in the woods, which was
Yeah,
like,
you had to get the wood stash, but I'm not going to go in and buy a porno, and I'm definitely
No.
not going to ask my mates when I go into the house, can I, borrow your older
can we
brother's
snoop
porno?
through your dad's stuff and find
Yeah,
his pornos?
no way.
Yeah, I know.
Like it was on TV. They just
Yeah.
broadcast boobs right there on
Well,
television.
I think it was cleverly done because you know how in winter everyone is like wearing 50 layers of stuff, right? And then in summer there's just naked people walking around the high street, right?
Oh
There's
my God,
everyone's
yeah.
got their top off, and like, there's girls wearing basically next to nothing for like 2 months.
It's
and
amazing.
And then you don't see an outdoor boob again for 8 months, right?
Not a
it's this-
wild breast is hard to come by, is what we're saying.
Really, but in Baywatch, it's always hot. It's just normal, and and the normal clothes are that summer nothing, right? And I
Yeah.
can get away with it because this is the setting, you know,
It's LA.
where it's summer, it's on the beach, and so as a result, yeah, everyone would be wearing what I guess for the rest of the year is not cool, but for a couple, you sort of forget though by the time winter comes around just how what kind of a drought there is of natural boob out there on the street.
yeah,
You know,
we just need
Like,
more.
It was just magic.
I think what Lewis is trying to say is we just need more
Yeah.
boobage. I think that's how they
Can
say
we get
it.
some boobs up in here, please? Hello? We need titties right now.
yeah.
I saw this thing. Actually, I'm gonna mention it, but I don't know anything about it, and I haven't looked into it. But apparently, there was some issue with the chain Hooters in North America.
Yes.
There was an issue with their new uniform, and that there was something wrong with the shorts or something. and people didn't want to wear the shorts.
What,
And now
the hot pants?
they can now just wear their own shorts if they want. Apparently, this is the outcome of the whole thing. But like, man, I thought Hooters had to have died in the 90s. Like, even in the 90s.
I went to one a few years ago.
I
There's
went-
one in Nottingham.
I went to one with my dad in the 90s, and it was
Oh my God.
it was one of those things that was like, man, I've always wanted to go to Hooters, but I was like 17 years old. My dad's
Right.
like, okay, I guess I'll take you to Hooters. So we went to Hooters, and I got back. Like, we didn't say a word to each other the entire time. The whole drive back, nothing. And we've never talked about it since. It's just like, it's like it never happened. It was such a weird experience, but I just
So
figured,
tell me what happened
because
when you
it
went
was
in.
so weird and out of date. I mean, it was even like when I went, it must have been 97. It was fucking so out of date, like in every aspect, right? And I'm surprised it's still going, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I
don't
went
know.
to one
I
a few
don't
years
know
ago.
of a single person that I've ever encountered that would actively go to Hooters, for example.
I went to one a few years ago, like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, but like as a joke, like, did you go?
No, it was just we were staying. I was
seriously
out. No, I
wanted to
didn't
go-
go like, let's go to Hooters. It was like the hotel we were staying in. There was like 2 choices of restaurant near to it. One was a Chili's. We went there the first night.
Right.
So we went to Hooters. The food was decent. They were showing the football, so it was like,
Oh, okay. Well,
Perfect.
fair enough. But I just like, yeah, it's just such a weird.
it is a weird vibe.
It is a weird vibe. Yeah. And
What did you
I
have?
don't
Just
recommend
like
going there with your dad.
chicken wings?
either.
Hand job.
That's it.
No, I can't remember what I fucking had. I'm
So,
sure there were curly fries involved.
what opened
By the way,
in
can
Bristol?
I just have 2 words for you before we move
Go
on
on.
from Baywatch? Yasmin Bleeth.
Oh, do you
Oh,
know what?
sure.
I just
Thank you.
I was just
Thank you.
because I looked up Pamela Anderson and it was like you may also be interested in, and Yasmin Bleeth is at the bottom
Well,
of you got
well,
Carmen
two
Electra
more
down
words
here.
for you. Yes, Carmen Electra. Those are the
Yasmin
2 more
Bleeth,
words.
Alexandra Paul, Nicole Eggert, Brooke Burns, and Erica Eleniak. So
Donna DeErico.
Brooke Burns
All right.
looks a lot like Sandra Bullock, but like more exaggerated facial expressions.
Donna
I
DeErico.
don't even know.
So
who she
apparently
is.
there's only one Hooters now in Britain.
Is it in Nottingham?
I'm surprised there are any. Actually, I didn't realize that this was that it made it across
is.
the pond. Like, I know
Yes.
it's a very American thing, but
So we went
It's
to
in Nottingham.
Yeah, I've been to that one because we went to football. We went to see Bournemouth against. I think it was either
Oh.
Forest or Notts County.
Right.
How many Hooters have you been to?
3.
Just the one. Oh, oh my god. You have
bit-
out hooted me on this
It's
day.
all coming out now.
I'm
It's
not
so-
ashamed. This is just a listen.
I mean,
it's a fine restaurant. I
It's
go there for
fine,
the
yeah.
food.
This was
It's
one of
fine.
those moments, right? This is one of those moments when, like, you don't volunteer the information, but when someone asks you, you have the answer, right?
I have the
It's
answer.
like, I like that. So, like, it reminds me of that time when I sort of accidentally asked my mum. I was like, "Oh, have you ever been married before?" Kind of like casually, and she was saying, to me, "Oh, actually, I was," and I was like,
Oh my god!
"Oh my god!" It was like earth shaking. That was how I felt when you said you'd been to 3 Hooters, separate branches.
3 separate branches of Hooters. I went to the one in Nottingham. We were up there for football.
Right.
This is with all the lads. You know, we drove up, and of course, you know, there's like 15 blokes in a van. We're going to Hooters, and then
Right.
I went to the one over in LA when I was over for a event with Beyond the Summit,
Right.
and the hotel we were staying in was pretty basic.
Was it called the
basically-
Hooters Hotel?
No, the hotel was not attached to Hooters, unfortunately.
I'd love
was
it if
just a
Pflax
shit
just
hotel.
turns out to like be this guy who just seeks out Hooters everywhere he goes. He wants
I go to
stay.
Hootcon. I go to Hootcon every year.
Hootcon.
There are definitely that kind of people, right? There are definitely that kind of
Fucking
people.
Hootcon.
Hootcon, man.
Unfortunately, it's all outside,
shit.
so it's fucking freezing.
Oh,
Well, that's,
man.
that
That works, yeah.
what women's breasts do when it's cold, Lewis. That's why Hootcon is always held at freezing temperatures. It's Hootcon things. Anyway, the third one was in
Panting.
Florida. The third one was in Florida. I think
Oh,
I went with my
Florida.
dad.
Florida
I went
seems
with my
like
dad.
the perfect state to have so many Hooters, right? Like,
Oh, it's like ground zero for Hooters, I'm sure.
yeah, it's got to be.
Florida.
Actually, interestingly, let's see, Hooters. Not UK, Hooters. I just want to find out like where it originated because I'd be surprised if it wasn't Florida. actually,
Yeah, it would
thinking
be a
about
miracle
you know
if it
what I mean?
wasn't Florida. actually.
Hooters is a registered trademark is based in Clearwater, Florida.
Boom.
And Hooters of America Incorporated is based in Atlanta, Georgia, and is owned by the private
There you go.
investment firm Nord Bay Capital, Wow. There you go.
Norks,
Hooters.
very capital, surely.
No,
Is it? I mean, is that the datedness of it nostalgic? Do you know what I mean? Is it a joke? I mean, it's not obviously openly sleazy, or do you know what I mean? Like too gross. Well, maybe it is in some places still, but do you know what I mean? Like, is it one of those things that sort of actually accidentally legitimizes that kind do
Hey,
you know what I mean?
listen to this.
Is it like self-aware but secretly a perverted thing?
The Hooters name is a double entendre, referring to both a North American slang term for women's breasts and the logo, a bird known for its hooting call, the owl. So the owl's eyes are big titties. But there's like a full owl picture in the Hooters logo. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, sorry. But like, I forgot who I was talking to.
That was their old logo. I think their new logo is slightly different. It's
Hooters.
A slightly more stylized
I don't know. I'm on
owl.
Wikipedia right now, and it looks like
so
an up-to-date logo.
Scroll down. Look at 1983 to 2013. The Hooters logo looks a lot more like an actual owl.
It looks like the owl is melting, or it has been like it looks like roadkill owl.
It doesn't look great.
No.
And then you scroll up, and it's like a nice sort of friendly looking owl.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the Hooters logo font is almost exactly the same as the font we use for the Yogscast.
The Hooters logo 1983 to 2013 logo looks awful, but then offset against Hooters calendar girl Melissa Poe in 2004. You just think, well, you know what? It's probably not too bad. It's like...
So when I went to Hooters the first time, obviously I'm a big fan of
Hooters.
hot pants. Let's be honest, hot
pants.
pants.
Right. Okay.
They're very hot.
I didn't know what you were going to say. I thought it might be chicken wings, it might be football. It was hot pants. That was unexpected.
I mean, all of those things I'm a big fan of. But if you want me to just start listing things, I could do that. But on topic, hot pants, good look. And if you read on the Wikipedia, it lists the things that the women have to abide by, which is the handbook, the code, if you will. These are the female employees are required. There's the fucking door again. Christ!
Hey,
he's gone.
He's got to go answer the door for a parcel.
Halloween is here, and do you know what's spookier than seeing a black cat? It's trying to shave your balls with anything other than Manscaped. So when it comes to below the waist grooming, there's no need to carve your pumpkins this Halloween, because Manscaped is here to upgrade your grooming experience. Don't make your balls turn into a Freddy Krueger film. Manscaped can save the day and leave you smelling fresh with their new refined body wash. The grooming game is great with the Performance Package 4.0, the holy grail of men's grooming items. I'm actually going away today, and I am packing my Performance Package 4.0 because it's got the free shed travel bag. Very cool. I've got all of my stuff in there. I've got the weed whacker to trim my nose and ear hairs in case they get annoying when I'm away and keep me looking awesome. So yes, keep your balls safe, tame your pants werewolf with Manscaped. You can get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/Triforce. 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com/Triforce. Say trick or treat to your beautiful new Halloweeny with Manscaped. Fucking these jokes, dude.
Listen, there's been a lot of legal issues at Hooters. I don't know if you care to find out about some of these. But
why are you telling me?
Well,
save this for Pflax. I'm not an expert. I'm not going to help.
Well, look,
I'm not
if I give you the lowdown now before he gets back, you'll know all these facts, and you could say I'm not even looking at the Wikipedia. I just have done a lot of research on Hooters for research purposes, right? And then, he'll think that you're really smart and stuff. You want to do it?
Sure.
Okay. In 2009, Nikolai Grushevsky, a man from Corpus Christi, Texas, filed a lawsuit because Hooters would not hire him as a waiter. Grushevsky and Hooters reached a confidential settlement on April 13th. I think a lot of the legal issues are basically guys saying like, why can't I work at Hooters? And then them saying,
oh, they're just being dickheads.
We just
no
want
one wants
girls
to see
working at
your
Hooters.
moves.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Like, you can say that's not fair, but it is what it is.
I think most of the legal stuff is
just
about
chances.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think it's probably fairly equal opportunity.
Oh, listen to this one though. You'll like
days.
this. In 2011, a number of former Hooters executives left to start a Twin Peaks franchise group. Bam. Hooters
What?
filed
Twin
suit
Peaks?
and alleged that former Hooters executives stole trade secrets and management documents as part of their move to the new restaurant chain. In 2012, former employee Jerry Stratton filed suit after catching the airborne disease tuberculosis from one of her managers. Wow.
That's pretty nuts. So I'm intrigued. The former Hooters executive stole trade secrets. Would that be the trade secret of having girls wear hot pants and tight tops?
Yeah, I mean, I
They're
guess
onto us. They stole our secret.
they know how to make money now.
They know that straight men like looking at attractive young women. God damn it, file suit.
God, what a
Ludicrous.
turbulent history for
I
Hooters.
know.
That's a double problem though, because the Twin Peaks people will probably sue them as well.
Well,
I mean,
Twin Peaks is a still ongoing
David Lynch filed
television
suit.
series. Yeah.
Well, Twin Peaks Restaurant have 83 locations. Their slogan is "Eats, Drinks, Scenic Views."
Oh
Okay.
my God.
It's so creepy, man.
It's
It
so
is super
creepy.
creepy.
It's
yeah.
like Benny Hill, the restaurant, really, isn't it?
I mean,
But-
also it's called a restaurant.
Yeah. All this beating
That's
around the
genius.
bush, like just call a restaurant like Pussy or something like that, and they get them in, and you know what you're getting, right? You're just like, okay, yeah, I'm not here to eat, or maybe like I am, I guess, in another creepy kind of way. But you know what I mean? Like it just,
God.
come on, like save us all this. Like just if you want to just get people to take their kid off in front of other people, just call it that. The people take their kid off in front of you, please. Like, be more specific.
Yeah.
Stop bamboozling
Well,
us.
I guess everything that is on, it's always stuff that's right on the edge works well, right? Like stuff, obviously, like the controversy helps fuel it. There's always going to be a market for it. I'm sure when we had some friends down to Bristol that we met who we thought were perfectly normal guys. They were like, "Oh yeah, we've been checking out all the gentlemen's clubs in the place. What do you think of Urban Tiger?" And I was like, "I've never been to any of those. I have no idea where they are. Like, I can't help you."
I've been to
But I
one.
didn't say that, did I? I was like, oh yeah, yeah. I just tried to fit in. Like, oh yeah, I love those. I'm a gentleman myself. I've partaked of many a fine establishment locally.
Urban Tiger.
Sorry, I've been to two,
How
actually.
have I never been here? I've been down to Bristol a bunch of times.
Yeah, there's one
It's
like
right near where I stay.
yeah, there's one right by the Radisson Blue.
I'm gonna have a
Yeah.
look.
It's right by Pieminster. You go in, have a nice pie, and then boom, gentleman's club,
And then
baby.
Boom titties.
So there are male versions. There is a place called Tallywhackers,
Right.
featuring scanty-clad men in Dallas, Texas, but it was
dear.
closed in August 2016. But of course, there are a lot of places like this in Japan.
Tallywhackers.
Specifically, there's a place called Macho Cafe where brawny, muscly men serve food and drinks. Macho Meat Shop is another one.
I mean,
But also, this is the whole host desk club maid cafe type thing. Do you know what I mean? This
Yeah.
is another
the whole
borderline thing.
the whole sort of like themed restaurant thing, especially in North America, like maybe more in the 80s, but possibly now, I'm not sure. But I know for sure in the 80s, there were a couple of chains. One specifically that I remember from being a kid was a place called IP Looney's. And all the waiters were dressed up as like Dracula or like a mummy or whatever. Like it was like all this like themed thing, right? And they just had all these little things that they did. Like if you wore a tie, they would cut it off. Like that was just the thing that they did. So like
Right.
I don't know why. I guess it was just like to make the experience more memorable or wacky or something like that. I always thought it was stupid as hell, but like when I was a kid, it was kind of funny, I guess, but I feel like in North America, they go for that kind of stuff, like it's they love going out to eat, they like getting good value for their meals and stuff, but they also like the experience too, right? And like sometimes if the experience is a bit different, I feel less so in Britain. You go to Britain, people grunt at you, and they give you your food, and then you eat it all, and then you leave. Right? Like
Right.
nobody's like overly interested
we
in
don't
the
really
whole...
go in for the interaction.
Nah.
We want to be served, left alone, and then take everything away, and we'll pay and we'll leave.
Yeah.
You go to the States, and I mean, I've been out to eat in a whole bunch of places across America. Obviously, there are differences in culture where, because tips are involved, and they're always called servers, aren't they?
Yeah.
Will sort of like will be extra nice to you because They want to get a tip. That's the idea.
Yeah.
I think some of them are just very nice and sort of pleasant
For
people.
sure, but you get way more upselling as a result of that.
You do,
culture.
yeah.
You know, like I know like a couple of times that we've been to the States for different conventions or whatever, and we, you know, go out for a meal the first night we're there, and it's constant. It's like you know, like it's like they're trying to sell you a car, but it's just a meal. And
it's very American.
You're like, oh, can I just get some?
Selling.
I'll just get some macaroni and cheese, and they're like, oh, would you like our chef to sprinkle on some delicate dingleberries and maybe some bacon, and would you like some asparagus on the side that's just slowly pan roasted in butter? And you're like, get me some fucking macaroni, buddy. Jeez, like I don't want any of this shit you're talking about. Like, and I also don't want to pay like $1 million to eat. Like, just get me the macaroni and fuck off. Like, I'm just used to being in the UK
you
now.
come to the UK, that's the kind of service we'll get you.
Oh, I
what
know.
What do you want? These.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
And then
now
they
fuck
don't
off.
even acknowledge it. They just walk away and come back with it. It's like, it's fucking great though. I prefer it like that, you know?
It's we're there for our own fun, right? Like not very often do people feel like they have to entertain us, but it does feel like that's the thing in America. Like you go to a sports bar to watch sports and meet people or talk to people about sports or do something, right? I guess this is just the next thing. I mean, and also it's a whole thing, right? There's this place called Bikini's Sports Bar and Grill, right, which this guy opened up, and then this is such an American thing, right? He purchased a ghost town, okay, called Bankersmith, and renamed it to Bikini's,
Nice.
Texas, right? So it was like the idea of having some sort of Hall of Fame there, and like, I don't know, just it's the kind of American thing that people do, right? Where these businessmen come up with these stupid ideas and just to promote their weird thing. And you never know, it could get massive as a result, but it might just flop and fall to pieces, as I assume this one did, because it was run by some crazy chancer. But there's so many of these restaurant like chains. There's like Redneck Heaven is one apparently,
Nice.
which sounds awful. I would never go to a redneck heaven.
Just imagine that for a moment. If you're not a redneck, that is an advertisement to never go to that place. Like that is literally advertised, which I appreciate. It's like if it was just called Shit Kickers Are Us, I wouldn't go. Like I'd think, no, that doesn't sound like a good night.
No.
Like it really doesn't. So, but I mean, oddly enough, Urban Tiger, I'm just checking out their Twitter account, Urban Tiger of Bristol, and they're complaining about the Bristol Council because obviously strip clubs have a very bad reputation and a lot of people really, really hate them, which I can understand.
Sure.
I wouldn't want to live across the road from a strip club.
No.
I wouldn't want to be a business located next to one because even though, I mean, it is something
I don't know
strange.
though. Like sometimes I'm so horny it hurts, and I think, man, I would love to live across the street from a strip club. But most of the other time, I'm like, I agree. I don't want to.
I want to know
near
if
one.
you could open one called Actual MILFs in your area. That's what it's called.
Oh.
And you could just go and it's just a bunch of MILFs, horny MILFs, in a club, located in one place.
This is a good idea, man. Why hasn't anybody done
and
this
they'll
yet?
serve you a bacon sandwich or whatever you want. You know.
Yeah.
Well, I was trying to say
Upsell you
earlier,
on the food.
there was a Hooters in Bristol, right? It opened when we came down.
That's not going to go down
in
well.
2010, and it was there for about a couple of years. There was a controversy in Bristol because a 12-year-old boy was having a birthday party at Hooters. What a fucking lad!
Oh man,
can I say?
Yeah.
And he was given a birthday cake shaped like naked breasts.
Holy shit!
So that is, I suppose, quite a legendary time for him. I'm sure he had no problems with it, but certainly some other people did have problems with it, and there were some complaints, and it eventually shut down.
It is weird, isn't it? How the Puritans are given full voice the moment it comes to sex. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, the only reason that any of us are here walking about is because of sex. People think about it a lot. People do it as often as they can. People are obsessed with it. But God forbid you pay to look at an attractive person or order a birthday cake shaped like titties. Apparently that's a bridge too far. I don't know why. I'd like to see some opinions on this from our listeners. I know we have a wide range of listeners. I want to know, what's the fucking problem with the Dream Boys nightclub in Bristol, which is a bunch of lads stripped and oiled.
Right.
Very handsome, muscly young men.
A question.
That's starting at the Bristol Hippodrome. That's okay.
What
But
when a
Urban
male
Tiger is in the
male
thing? What?
strips and takes all of his kit off though, like what's the expectation? Like, because I mean, if you don't have a boner, like that thing is just flopping around like You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but they've got very big danguses.
I get that, but like what? Like as part of like
they usually
when
have like some sort of semi going as well. They don't. They fluff themselves a little bit. You can't go on stage completely floppy.
That's what I was going to say.
Have,
I mean, like,
so you'd have. We've got Hootcon.
Okay,
so
but then
have, like,
if you're up there
Popcon.
with a full boner, like on
Right.
stage, and you're dancing and doing gymnastics, that's gonna fucking hurt, right? Like, you ever tried like jumping up and down with a boner before?
Yeah, it's not
that
fun.
kills. Like,
but
there's-
it would be entertainment.
It's not a raging boner. It's more of a kind of light,
like one of those ones that
entertainment
just
boner.
like it
It's-
hurts. It's like about to explode.
I would say it's more of mildly interested rather than
Right,
fully
yeah, right.
fascinated level.
No,
of erection.
a genuine question though, like you know, like you that subreddit, no stupid questions. I'd never really thought about it until right now. So I was just wondering.
I know that they do those parties at hen nights. I don't know what they call hen nights in the US, but imagine a bunch of women drunk and horny on a night out because one of them's getting married. I don't know what you call it over there. We call them hen nights.
Yeah,
over here.
yeah.
And they go wild. Like
They do almost.
It's dicks
crazy.
everything, right? Like dick straws and a dick hat and like dick sunglasses and like, oh my god,
absolutely.
And you can buy all this
sex
stuff.
mad.
Like you go to a party shop and there's a whole section where everything is just shaped like dicks.
Yeah.
It's just dicks everything.
Go for it. Go for it. If that's your bag, fucking go for it. That sounds like a cracking night out if you're into dicks.
It's odd though, like over here when they're all on a ferry going to France and you're sitting there with your kids and your kids are like, what are they doing? And you're like, well,
that's a penis, Timmy.
yeah,
that's a penis.
They're celebrating.
Why is it 10 foot long, Daddy? Well, because those ladies are off to have a party, so they need a very large
that woman
penis.
sucking a pint of vodka out of a penis, Daddy? Well, Timmy.
When a woman gets to a certain age, yeah.
That's great.
But I mean, it's like a whole culture, isn't it? This is sort of the hen night and the stag night.
Do you reckon they're sort of making up for? Do you reckon they're deliberately overdoing it to like to make a point? No, I don't think so.
I think it's a combination of things. First of all, it's seen as like tradition. Like the number of stag do's, when I was in Bournemouth, you get stag do's all the time. Number of stag do's where they all dress up as superheroes or whatever. And some of them are clearly not particularly into it. Some of the costumes, they really go for it. Some of them just like chuck a fucking Spider-Man mask on. They can't really be bothered. It's like,
But
if
they're
you
not
imagine...
wearing like tuxedos covered in vaginas. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I think that there is obviously, I don't know why, but there is a difference. I think it's basically because there's nothing threatening to anyone about a bunch of women carrying around a giant inflatable dick. Like,
No,
I
there
don't think
isn't,
that's not threatening.
And it still is pretty funny. And I think
it is
that's part
funny.
of it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no threat there. No man is like, oh my God, a penis. And sort of, these women are going to do anything to them. Yeah, like, they're just sort of girls that are having a fucking blast. And I think most blokes would just think it's hilarious. It doesn't feel threatening. Whereas I think if you were a woman alone in a pub and 10 blokes came in carrying a giant inflatable vagina and being extremely overtly sexual, you might think this is making me super uncomfortable and I'm going to leave. And I would understand that completely. So I think that is the fundamental difference.
I think them dressing as superheroes is probably actually a good way for them to, because I think if you're dressed as a superhero, you're more likely to do good acts, right? You're more likely to try and save someone, right?
Maybe.
Oh man.
But I was going to say that some of those parties, what Sips was saying, the erections at the strippers, some hen nights will hire a stripper who then will let them suck him off. Like, that's a thing.
Really?
And sometimes they will even have sex with the stripper. So they basically hire a male prostitute to fuck a bunch of the women at these parties. What I'm saying is, if your girlfriend's going to a hen do, you better hope she goes to Dream Boys and just watches some lad stripping and she's not noshing some lad off on a dance floor somewhere.
And this is why we shouldn't shut down Hooters.
We need Hooters
because
now.
It prevents people going to Urban Tiger. We need Hooters. We need that middle ground, that safe.
You don't think it's the gateway drug? You think it's more of a placating...
It's like a known safe. It's like the line. Hooters is the line.
It's just safe enough. And just creepy enough without crossing
and
the
if we
line.
shut down the line, people will go over the border. They'll go to Canada and they'll bring the booze back. We can't do it. We need Hooters.
God.
This is a rallying cry.
Hey, listen, I had this...
Sound your hoot!
When we were
rallying cry!
When we were talking about Hooters half an hour ago, and it turns out we're still talking about Hooters half an hour later, I was thinking, the Hooters in Bristol that closed down. Imagine being a fly on the wall like, 10 minutes before that place closes, the guy just comes out of the manager comes out of his office. Oh, girls, all right, bad news. We haven't had customers for weeks. We got bad rap in the papers and stuff. And they're all standing around doing nothing because there's nothing to do, and they're in their hot
Looking
pants
hot.
and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, we're gonna have to close forever. You guys are just gonna have to go find other jobs. They're all slamming their fists on the tables and crying and shaking in the corner and stuff. Yeah, sorry, this branch of Hooters is officially closed now. We're gonna close our doors for the last time. Just close up, and everybody has
man.
to go home. What a sad situation.
But would it be like other businesses, like when you peer through, the way they put paper over the windows?
Yeah.
You peer through the paper and you can see the destitute business. There's still some, like, if it's a pub, there's still like a bar, there's a few glasses and tables and cloths knocking about. There'd be like hot pants hanging off things and bras and stuff like that. You think, oh man, what happened in there? Who's is dead?
It's gone.
That's what happened.
It's such a happy place normally, and then to think of it just like empty, no more thrill
It's just
or
a
joy.
dusty bra left on the bar.
No more titty birthday cakes, or if there is, they're all moldy.
Yeah,
Terrible.
just
What would be
moldy-ass-
your dream theme restaurant, other than Hooters, obviously? What would be one where you would think, this is a great theme and I love it there, let's just keep going?
Oh God! Well, it has to be. There's so many cool. Any fantasy like steampunk or like Hobbit style pub. Do you know what I mean? Cozy, warm, like music playing, folk people around. You can get away with so much. It can be dirty.
So
Do you
like
know
the
what I mean?
prancing pony in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
that sort of theme.
I like the aesthetics
great
for sure,
atmosphere.
like the Hearthstone Tavern or something like that. Something
Yeah,
oldie, worldy,
you gotta have
lots of oak,
yeah.
lots of wood smells and stuff. And
Yeah,
I
God,
like that.
That's
I definitely like
that's
that.
the perfect one, right? Yeah. But I think sometimes people take it too far on the theme. Like I stayed in a hotel in Japan that was themed up. It had themed rooms. Each room was a different theme.
Right.
And they were all fucking weird though. Then too much. It was like, Dracula's cave. And
Bizarre.
do you know what I mean? Like, and I think they were all like movies though. It was like Jurassic Park room and like the Jaws room. Do you know what I mean? They were all kind of just too much. And I think that you can't go overboard.
Man,
it's like
okay. Listen to this. My dream
Go on.
themed restaurant would be like a Buckingham Palace banquet hall. Okay, you get in there, you get like the big long table, you get all like the places are served for like 25 people, but it's just you, and you get this big feast, and you get to eat and everything. And you're just finishing up the last morsel or whatever, and then the waiter comes out and he's like, "Sir, your sledgehammer," and you're like, "Okay, now it's go time." And then you just get like 2 hours to just like smash the place up with a sledgehammer for as long as much damage as you can do. It doesn't matter. You're just allowed to like smash up the table, throw all the plates against
chandeliers,
just like the cabinets
candlesticks
and shit. You can just like smash the crap out
all
of
the
them.
silverware.
Yeah, all the
like smashing
mirrors
bottles of
and stuff,
wine.
and optionally, if you want, you could like get them to play music while you're doing it and stuff too.
Gosh, I didn't know you had such destructive
You
tenants.
need like the goggles and like some ear protectors and stuff too. But like, no, I think it would be fun. Like, what about?
Thank God you are not Jeff Bezos or Elon
Okay,
Musk. Do you know what
what
I mean?
about-
We'd be losing country houses at like a rate of
Yeah,
knots.
what about like a country house that you could just go in and smash to smithereens for as long as you want, and then when you're done, it just gets restored back to like how it was for the next person to come in and do it.
Oh no,
That'd
just
be
dynamite
fucking
that
awesome,
piece of
right?
shit.
Like
Fuck
I
it.
think that'd be fun because like you never get to really do that, and then if you do smash up something in your own house, you're like, oh man, like I gotta replace it, or I shouldn't have done that, or whatever. But if it's if it's like a place
Right.
that's designed to do that, just go for it, right? Just go.
They do
you
have
just
these
go
things
nuts.
in America. These rooms, like they're kind of like escape rooms, except you can break everything in there.
Yeah.
and there's like loads of like sugar glass bottles and plastic
Yeah.
things, and this old crappy china that they got from.
It's
charity
like
shops or
a
whatever.
rock star fantasy, like you hear like Led Zeppelin used to trash their hotel rooms and stuff like that. I wouldn't want to like do that necessarily because it's not really designed for that. But if there was like a place I could go to that was designed for me to just like wreck it for an hour or whatever, I'd be up for it. Why not?
It's supposed to be a thing that you do to get your anger out, but actually it shows. I read a thing that showed that people who did that were more angry.
Yeah, I don't think it releases anything. You just come out out enraged.
Yeah.
I think it just makes you a psychopath. They're like psychopath training rooms.
It's like just one of those things. Like, I know it sounds weird, and like I hope you guys don't think of me differently or whatever, but on my bucket list of things to do before I depart this earth, I would love to just throw a really big TV out of a window and watch it smash in the road. I don't want to hurt anybody, obviously. I don't want anybody to be down there or whatever, but I just think it would be really satisfying like just to watch like one of those big ass old TVs, you know, like not like a flat screen, like a big Zenith or something.
Lots of glass in there.
Boom, like all over the place. Like, and then if the slow motion guys could capture it all for me as well.
I'm sure you could probably find videos of this exact thing happening.
Yeah, I know, but I want to do it. I don't want to watch. I want to watch it after, but I want to also do it, you know? Like,
I see.
That's like my hunting elephants in Africa fantasy, you know, for me. I want to just chuck a big TV. You know, like even like 5 stories or something. That would be perfect.
Well, I've got a themed restaurant to pitch to you lads. Let me know if you want to invest. It's a World War I themed trench experience restaurant.
Oh my god!
So it's the restaurant.
So you have to do 6 months of basic training.
No, there's no training.
You gotta boil. Do you get like a little kettle to boil your own sludge trench water?
Absolutely.
Oh
you get given a ration pack on entry. You can choose. There's a vegetarian option and a vegan option, obviously. And then you've got the meat ones, bully beef or some kind of pork and bean or whatever.
Right. And you gotta boil it in trench water.
Yeah, you have to make it all yourself, but you've got to make it with the things that are in the trench. So you've got to start a fire with like some sticks or a body of a fallen comrade. And in order to get people to clear out of the restaurant early, it slowly fills with water and you might get trench foot if you stay too long. That's how we have a high turnover of guests coming through the trench theme.
Right. So you can't make it too comfortable.
No. And there's loud noises. Bang! Occasionally goes off. Some dust will come down from the ceiling. So a proper trench experience. And at the end, a series of whistles. The waiters come around and blow whistles. You have to get on the ladder and charge out of the restaurant over no man's land.
Listen,
cool.
What about this for a crossover though? We share the premises, and then instead of you having to make your own bang noises, the bang noises, it turns out, is people chucking TVs off a 5-story building, landing on the roof, and then it causes like a little bit of dust to come off the roof because of the impact of like
just like World War I when they were throwing TVs at each other.
You should set this up with a partnership on the border with a German restaurant, okay? And they do their side, like their trenches. You do your side, like the British ones, and you could experience what it's like for the other side.
And you can take pot shots at each other. And at the end of the meal, everybody goes into no man's land and plays football, just like they did on Christmas Day.
And just the cherry on top, all the waitresses are Hooters girls. Am I right, guys? Am I right?
But the German Hooters girls ones have to wear that helmet with the spike on top.
Nothing else about the uniform changes, just the helmet with the spike on top. I love that.
Okay.
I love that.
No, I think that will just provide the reality breaking thing that they need, just to make sure they don't realize they actually are there for real.
Man, oh man.
Yeah, they'll keep it real. Holy crap. Well, there you go. That is a Triforce episode.
Yeah.
Thank you everyone for joining us.
Yeah.
Please enjoy yourselves in this time of year. And we'll see you next week.
See you later. Farewell.
Bye.
Goodbye.